Everyone laughed when the teacher walked into the classroom that morning. Not because she was late. Not because she said something funny. They laughed because she looked weak. Her clothes were simple, her voice was soft, and her hands shook slightly as she placed her books on the desk. One student whispered, "She won't last a week," and the others quietly agreed. No one knew that this quiet moment was the beginning of a story that would change one student's life forever. In the back row sat a boy named Daniel. He kept his head down, hoodie pulled low, eyes tired from nights spent worrying about things no kid should worry about. His classmates knew him as the quiet one, the slow one, the boy teachers eventually gave up on. What they didn't know was that Daniel had already given up on himself. Every laugh in that room felt like proof that he didn't belong there. And when the class mocked the teacher, Daniel felt something familiar, shame mixed with fear, because he saw himself in her. Before we go deeper, take a second and hit the like button if you believe stories can change lives. And subscribe to this channel if you want more real, emotional stories like this. This is Mindforge, where stories aren't just told, they're felt. The teacher introduced herself as Miss Evelyn Carter. Her voice didn't try to control the room. She didn't shout, she didn't threaten. She simply smiled and said, "I'm glad you're here." That made the laughter worse. One student openly yawned. Another tapped his desk loudly. Miss Carter noticed everything, but she didn't react. That silence confused them more than anger ever could. From that day on, the class tested her limits. They talked over her, ignored instructions, and mocked her kindness. Other teachers warned her that this class was difficult, especially Daniel. "He doesn't care," they said. "He's a lost cause." Miss Carter nodded, but something in her eyes said she wasn't convinced. Daniel failed his first test badly. Red marks covered the page like scars. When the paper landed on his desk, he didn't even look at it. He already knew. He waited for the sigh, the disappointment, the comment that would confirm what he believed, that he wasn't smart enough. But none of that came. Instead, Miss Carter knelt beside his desk and quietly said, "I can see you tried. That matters." No teacher had ever said that to him before. Weeks passed. The mocking continued. One day, a student stood up and said loudly, "Why should we listen to her? She's too soft to teach us anything." The room went silent. Every eye turned to Miss Carter. Even Daniel looked up, heart pounding, waiting for her to finally break. But she didn't. She looked at the student and calmly said, "You don't have to respect me, but you do have to respect yourself." Then she continued the lesson as if nothing had happened. That moment stayed with Daniel. One afternoon after class, Miss Carter asked Daniel to stay back. His stomach tightened. He expected trouble. Instead, she asked him about his dreams. He laughed bitterly. "I don't have any," he said. "People like me don't get dreams." Miss Carter didn't argue. She simply replied, "Then let's build one." From that day, she started meeting him twice a week after school. No pressure, no judgment, just patience. She broke lessons into small pieces, celebrated tiny improvements, and never once compared him to anyone else. When he failed, she said, "Good, now we know where to start." Slowly something changed. Daniel started raising his hand. His grades improved, not dramatically, but steadily. More importantly, he started believing that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't broken. The class noticed. The same students who mocked Miss Carter now whispered in confusion. "Why does she care so much?" they asked. They didn't know that Miss Carter once sat where Daniel sat. Years ago, she had been the quiet student, the one teachers overlooked, the one classmates laughed at. One teacher had saved her by refusing to give up. Now she was returning that gift. The turning point came during the school's public presentation day. Daniel was chosen to present a project in front of the entire grade. When his name was announced, laughter filled the hall. Daniel froze. His hands shook. He looked at Miss Carter, ready to say he couldn't do it. She met his eyes and nodded once. That was all? Daniel walked to the stage, heart racing, legs weak. The room was loud. Then he remembered Miss Carter's voice. "You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be honest." He took a breath and began. His voice cracked at first, but he continued. As he spoke, the room grew quiet. For the first time, people listened. When he finished, there was silence. Then applause, real applause. Daniel searched the crowd for Miss Carter. She was standing, clapping, tears in her eyes. That moment changed everything. Not just for Daniel, but for the class. The teacher they mocked had just proven that strength doesn't shout, it stays. Years later, Daniel stood on another stage, this time as a speaker, telling his story. He talked about failure, doubt, and the teacher who refused to see him as a lost cause. "She didn't change my grades," he said. "She changed how I saw myself." Miss Carter sat in the audience, unnoticed, smiling. If this story touched you, let us know in the comments. Have you ever had someone believe in you when no one else did? Share this story with someone who needs hope today. And don't forget to subscribe to Mindforge, where every story is a reminder that one person can change everything.